Hey guys, what's going on? Drang here, listen to some Granddaddy, check him out. And is this behemoth box worth your money? Alright, so firstly, this is a TOURATECH HP upgraded stock. Now I have this on my Tiger 1200 and it was 1100-ish, somewhere in that figure. That's quite expensive. Just as a note, I did not buy this as an upgrade. I didn't just have 1100 bucks lying around and I think I'll buy a shock, you know. I mean, I'm a guy who typically would use the standard stock, except that my stock blew out completely. The dampening screw just failed and it is dead. So after about a month of trying to diagnose that problem, I start looking at replacement shocks, and if you look on the internet, at least on YouTube, all the videos are TOURATECH for adventure bikes. So I look it up, it's 1100 bucks, and you know, I have to break this news to my wife, which is not a great time. So anyways, here we are. I've got the shock. Guys at Cascade Moto ordered it for me, got all the specs, all the customization options set up for me. When you order one of these, a TOURATECH, you actually have to fill out a form that is quite extensive. So it deals with how often do you off-road, how often do you ride with luggage and an extra rider and approximate weights and things like that. So style of riding, whether you're into sporty riding. So they basically send you a tuned shock from in the East Coast, wherever it's made. This is more of a rough cut video of would I recommend this shock. Well, I gotta say, I would say I've probably been running 1,000 miles on it. It's excellent. It's the single best improvement item I've ever had on a motorcycle. It's really interesting because in the past with sport bikes, I've spent over $1,000 on performance mods that got me just a little bit more power. And something that I always neglected, you know, I never even think about is the suspension and the brakes and things like that. And the handling on my 2012 Tiger is so much improved over the factory shock. When you go over big bumps and things like that, there's no worry of bottoming it out. Now, this is not the TOURATECH Extreme. So I would say this. I would recommend that you at least go with the HP that has the hydraulic preload knob that you turn. That is a really convenient thing to have when you're out on the road and you might be adding weight. You know, it's nice to be able to just crank it up. I would at least pay for that. The Extreme shock is around $1,700 and some change. That's a lot of money. But if you're like a GS guy or a Tiger guy who goes way off-road and does that serious, you know, you're jumping it and stuff, it might be time to consider the Extreme. Now, as far as quirks about this shock, you know, I don't really have a lot negative to say. I mean, it's expensive. It really was a gouge to me to get this put on the bike. Other than that, I would say you're going to have to manually adjust the sag on your bike. There's no chart here that says they don't give you like custom instructions like 10 clicks positive for 2 riders or whatever. They don't give you anything like that. So you're going to have to actually break out your string or your measuring tape and start marking things to measure the sag. So if you've forgotten how to do that, you'll need to relearn how to do that. Overall, this is just to give you an impression. There's not technical information here, other than I can just tell you it works really well. I will say this, would I buy another one? Well, let's say I bought a new Tiger and it came with the semi-active electrical suspension. I wouldn't buy one right out of the gate. I just wouldn't do it. I ride on the road mostly. That is a lot of money. 1,100 bucks is you know. Then again, if I was going to go and do serious off-road, hit the BDR and all that stuff, yeah, I would invest in one of these, and I would invest in probably the Extreme. So I hope that kind of is a little bit helpful. As for some features on this shock that are pretty cool, I'll just show you on the side of the box here. But at the bottom of the shock, which is right here, let's set it like this. Imagine this is the shock, you know, I don't want to take it off my bike for the video. At the bottom of the shock, not on this picture, there is actually a height adjust. So you can adjust the height of the rear of the bike independently of the preload. I think that's pretty cool. If you're the type of person who wants to add a little ground clearance, or what have you, maybe even lower, you have that ability. That's kind of neat. On top of that, another nice thing is that they actually put a spring on it that's for the weight that is needed. And I'm like, I'm kind of fat, I guess, and whatever. I'm like 6'3", 6'4". So bikes aren't really sprung for my weight to begin with. That's not to say on an ADV I can't crank it up, but the problem is when I start to put in luggage or a passenger, I easily overweigh what the bike was sprung for. For this, they've sprung this for like between 210 pounds all the way up to my weight and second rider weight and all that. So that's kind of nice. It's a serious gripe I have that they underspring bikes from the factory. Even if you were a rider that's under 170 pounds, you might want to load up a bunch of stuff on the bike to go on a big camping trip, and you may find that you're sagging a little too much in the rear. As for some basic info on the shock, TOURATECH is an American company as far as I can tell. They assemble the shock in the United States. However, the shock itself is actually made in Germany, as I understand. So when you order one of these, it's interesting. They kind of build it, for you in a way. Mine had to come from Germany when I ordered it. It took a while to get it. It may not be the case for everything. I'm sure that TOURATECH USA's got stuff, maybe it's because I'm so fat or whatever. But anyways, they sent the components over, and they really were pretty quick considering it came from Germany. Now, one option you guys have for ADV riding is if you don't want to go trashing a $20,000 to $30,000 bike, do like I did and buy an older model, a 2012 in my case, and upgrade it. Spend a little bit of money upgrading an older one that you get at a way cheaper price. I got mine for $8,000. And it's a nice touring bike, and yeah, you can do some off-road with it if you wanted to. I don't really do that, but I am over time converting it to an XCA, and this really was a major improvement. So it's one of the upgrades that I wanted to really focus on. I'll talk about everything I do on the bike, but realistically, honestly, for $1,100, this is single-handedly the best upgrade I've ever experienced on a motorcycle, hands down. Nothing even comes close. So if you're considering doing it and you're just not sure about the difference it would make, I have no doubt in my mind that whether you're on a BMW, whether you're on a Tiger, whatever you're on, this is probably better than the stock shock. Well guys, I'm going to end that. This is just basically a hanging out in the garage video. It's finally warm, so I can hang out in the man cave a little bit, and I just like being out here. So hope you liked the video, and subscribe for more content, and I really appreciate all the viewership, all the new subs. Y'all have a good one, and ride safe.